The title of this ode and poem is Doris. As a lad, I remember Doris as one who was always hale and hearty, looking for the good things that life offers, especially the parties. Always enthusiastic and energetic in whatever she did, especially when it came to teaching her nephew about her beer pop-top lid. She spent too much time reading books like True Romance. I guess this made her forgiving, and when my folks gave up on me, she gave me a chance. She was always willing to let her nephew stay in her house, and I was always wonderful, and Jerry was as usual. Alas. And the cowbell woke me each morning while I was sleeping like a log. I guess I got even by leaving the gate open and ending the life of Midget the dog. Always ready and willing to listen to your problem and fears, but only if you took her out drinking while sneaking a couple of smokes and a beer. Never one to complain, pout, and only bitch a little. What a great attitude she always had, even with bones so brittle. She wins the award for bringing to our family the ultimate in loyalty. So tonight she has earned the right to be treated like royalty. Now all your family's here to celebrate your birthday, your 80th birthday, your latest. And there's no doubt in our mind, your family knows you're the greatest. Doris, we all love you and think you're the most. So let's raise our glasses and offer the best.
Doris.
Well, that's the best I can do. Wonderful. I've only had 8 years to write.
laughs. Of course, we've been through some heartaches too.
We're over.
But here's my best friend, my commandant, my associate, and I love her. Ain't she great?
Here, here.
Oh, that's sweet.
Oh, I don't know. Archie.
We'll get you some saving solutions.
I really think it's milestones and hardships that you've overcome. Well, I guess when I was a child at 9 years of age, when I had meningitis, that was a real hardship or obstacle to overcome because I was deaf for 3 years, and you have a lot of heartaches during that time. You know, children are mean; they make fun of you, and I would pretend a lot of times that I could hear when I couldn't. I wasn't totally deaf. If you spoke loudly, more like a yell, I could hear, and my teachers always put me on the very front seat, and they would stand by me. My teachers were wonderful to me. But when you don't hear, people make fun of you. And I guess that was a great impression in my life. And then when I finally did hear at 12 years of age, it was just a wonderful, wonderful feeling. And I thought, I'm not going to let my friends know that I can hear. I'll just show them, and then I can tell them what they've said about me.
The milestone is when I sold my horse and got a car. The big milestone was the senior year when the Pearl Harbor was bombed, and prior to that time, salaries were pretty low. You're lucky if you could get a job graduated from college at more than $90 a month, unless you were an outstanding student in engineering or chemistry or something like that. They bombed Pearl Harbor, and I was going to be a second lieutenant earning $150 a month.
I enjoyed my work at Camp Gruber. I worked at the German POW camp. And of course I tried to get information about Bert because he was a prisoner of war at that time, and I could, through an interpreter, could ask some of the German prisoners the location where this particular camp was located. Some of them were very nice. Some of them were very arrogant and did that Nazi salute every time they came in to the finance office.
Sorry, secretary.
I was secretary to the commandant of the camp. And then when they closed the POW camp, I went over to the finance office, and I was secretary to the financial officer there. I had a lot of wonderful experiences, met lots of many nice people, boys, young men, and all of them, most of them were really nice young men. My mother and dad worried about my dating these Yankees, but they're just like anyone else.
I went through Muskogee, had a blowout in McAllister, Oklahoma, and went to Muskogee and had a blind date with Doris. Everything happened on the 22nd. That was the 22nd of March of 1943. 44. Then I went overseas, and we came back, and we got engaged on November the 22nd, 1945. We married on January the 22nd, 1946.
Then, of course, we married. That was a big milestone for me to move to Texas because I wanted to stay in Oklahoma, but Archie looked for a job there, and you know, no one wanted to hire him. Now I realize it was a little ploy of his to stay in Texas. And then it was another big milestone to have children, which we wanted. We had to work at that a little, but it was fun. And had a lot of fun with the children. I know we made a lot of mistakes along the way, but you only get one chance with your children, so you have to do the best you can. And I think, as a whole, you all have turned out to be pretty good. It would be a reflection on us if I said you didn't. I think another great big step or milestone in my life was when I started to work for the Market Center. I was frightened, scared to death the day I started to work because I was going to use a computer, and I did overcome being afraid.
The only family I had growing up was my mother and father. I never really knew any of my cousins or any aunts and uncles, but just mostly by name only and sometimes on sight. And when Doris and I married, I felt like I had a brother. Her brother became my brother. And that was a new experience for me.
Well, I didn't have grandparents. I never knew my grandmothers. They were dead before I was ever born. And my mother's father died when I was 7, and my father's at 10. And I knew my mother's father better, but he was not around a lot because he was off in Colorado recovering from consumption or tuberculosis or whatever it was, asthma that he had. They called it tuberculosis. And then my father's father lived in Gary, Oklahoma, and at that time people did not travel for fun, or we didn't have the money. And the only time I would see them, or him, was at a funeral, and he came to visit us a couple of times. And I really loved both of them. They were fun. So I guess never having a grandmother, I wanted to really love my grandchildren. I just think family is one of the most important things. That you need your family, they need you, they may not think they do, but when the chips are down, family, it seems family will be the one that will rally around you.
I don't understand family squabbles because I didn't have a family to squabble with. Life is complicated as it is without trying to figure out how you can make it more complicated or how to make it uncomplicated. There's so many things you don't have any control over.
When I was growing up, my dad would say, "Oh, if it's meant to be, it will be," and that was kind of my theory, a little too.
I didn't dwell at the time, and I don't dwell now on what might have happened or what might have been if I'd have done something else.
I think that a lot of problems that we have in life, and we do not understand why we have them, it's always to prepare you for something a little rougher down the road.
The things that don't turn out right, you try not to do them again, and the things that turn out right, if they come up, you want to do those again.
Things I realize that you just cannot live in utopia.
There's more in this world to see and do today than ever before.
You've got to work at having an optimistic outlook. You cannot let yourself sit around and think, poor me, why did this happen to me? All the rough things happened to me, no one else happened. You just can't think that way.
There's an awful lot to learn that's happened in the last 50 years that we grew up with, and some of these things we know automatically, but the younger generation has to learn the hard way.
Well, and they also say people will be happy with you, but they will not cry with you. They don't
Right.
want to hear about your problems.
It's important to have a reason to get up in the mornings.
When you're growing up, you don't think about ever being older. And then as you get older, you think, oh, I'll never live to be that long. But don't worry about it. I don't worry about it. And now that I have, now I'm looking forward to 90.
But it's been an interesting and a wonderful life.
It really has.